Hello and welcome to Talking Nonsense, live from the Media Hub on Riot Radio. I am your host, Carson Putnam. This show is all about my thoughts and opinions on things in the pop culture and how nonsensical those thoughts may or may not be. If you've been watching for even a little bit, you know I am big into my combat sports and that I regularly do episodes on just talking about recent UFC events. Same thing, we're going to be talking about the recent UFC Houston event headlined by Sean Strickland and Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. And to say it was a good card would be lying. It was a pretty boring card. 9 of the 14 fights went the distance. And in this new flashy age of Paramount that they're trying to push, it's not flashy enough to go the distance. You gotta have knockout power and you gotta have star power. And truthfully, it almost feels like we've been fibbed to a little bit. That we've been lied to, at least in what to expect with these early pay-per-views and these early fight nights. Not to say that none of the fights are entertaining, because that would be a lie. The majority of the fights are still entertaining, and we're here to talk about the ones that I thought are most entertaining or most interesting, or just because I had a reason to talk about it. So before we get into the early prelims, we're gonna talk about a little interesting story that came out before this fight night, after the previous fight night of oh my God, who was it? It was Vicivius Oliveira and Brandon. Oh, it starts with an M. Brandon. Oh no, it wasn't. Whatever. It doesn't matter. The context doesn't matter. Basically, top 5 in the lightweight division, Mr. Dan the Hangman Hooker, his girlfriend and former stripper, I guess, broke up with him and came out with some pretty interesting screenshots along with it. She broke up with Dan Hooker on the basis of that he cheated on her, but with a man. Or apparently with multiple men, is how she put it. There has been no real information confirming nor denying any of this. But what really made it interesting was when Dan Hooker's ex, the one that broke up with him, when her dad got involved, and he seemed more angry than he really should have been, in my opinion, with a message for Dan Hooker saying, "You want to deal with this? You effing come see me face to face," implying that he's gonna fight the number 5, number 6 ranked lightweight in the UFC just because he cheated on his daughter with multiple men. I think we're going backwards. I don't see how that completely makes sense, how this completely justifies anything. I think it just adds to the questions. Lots of people started talking about his losses to wrestlers such as Arman Sarukian, painting them in completely new lights, which it's been a little funny. Even Dan Hooker's friends, and one that we talk about a little often, Mr. Craig Jones, the BJJ phenom, even got in on the fun, commenting on a training camp that they have where, I promise, nothing happened. That being said, let's get into the early prelims, starting with Juliana Miller and Carly Giudice. Now, this was going... I think I knew Carly Giudice was going to win going into this. I feel like a lot of people thought Carly Giudice was going to win going into this. She had 104 total strikes on Juliana Miller compared to Juliana Miller's 46 against Carly Giudice. Juliana Miller, she went off the playbook. She went off script. She took Carly Giudice down in the first round. I was not expecting it. Went for a submission attempt. But Carly Giudice just stood up and proceeded to piece her out for the next 2 rounds. I don't want to say Juliana Miller knew how much of an underdog she was and forgot about it for a moment, but she posted a video the night before complaining about how much of an underdog she was at plus 700, something like that, plus 680, I think. By the time of the fight, she was an underdog of plus 900. Oh my God. So yeah, that's just free money for anyone who wanted to bet there. Talking about free money, the next fight between Jordan Leavitt and Yadir Delval. If Yadir Delval looks familiar in any way, it's because he was the fighter that was at the very front of the recent UFC betting scandal, where his opponent seemed to just give up in the second round while Delval was going for a submission attempt. Well, we got to see how the match plays out when Delval's opponent isn't being paid to lose. They get it done. Not to say Yadir Delval put up no fight, but oh my God, he looked much worse compared to the fight where his opponent was paid to lose. Like we need to reevaluate this guy after this match. Truthfully, Jordan Leavitt isn't even like a high kind of underground, under the top 15 prospect. Like Jordan Leavitt's fine. He's a good fighter, but he pieced up Yadir Delval, and just after the betting scandal, it does not look good on you. To the third fight of the evening. Or at least that I'm talking about, we had the current flyweight champion, Joshua Van's teammate, Alden Correa versus Louis Gruel. And Alden Correa has been talking and has been seeming much more interested in chasing that title now that his friend, his training partner, is at that level. Alden Correa was at the... starts with a 4. He was at the gym that they train at before Joshua Van, but Joshua Van's gotten it done. He is the current flyweight champion, and Alden Correa is still, I think he's still unranked. If not, he's like 13, I think. Oh, excuse me. But another fight to go the distance, but they made it look competitive. That's what I'm saying. You know, not every fight that goes the distance is going to be boring. A lot of them are. A lot of them is just teep and jab. A lot of them is just, I'm going to wrestle. But, you know, sometimes it is a competitive fight, and you love to see it. And Alden Correa and Louis Gruel gave that to us. They gave us a fairly competitive fight. Honestly, making Alden Correa look better in that second and third round. Obviously, after he was able to feel out Gruel a little bit more, but Gruel not taking no for an answer and was truly going in for some nasty flurries without too much defense. He was going for a glass cannon build. He was looking to do lots of damage, but he wasn't looking to defend himself all too much. I think just the damage dealt at the end may have given just visually may have given Alden Correa the upper hand, but who's to say? After that, we had the best 3-round fight of the night between Chidi Njokuani and Carlos Leal. This fight, it's one of the better 3-round fights I've seen in a little bit. Definitely the best one this year. This fight was better than Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje for the lightweight title. This fight was better than the current main headlining fight on the same card between Sean Strickland and Anthony Hernandez. Chidi Njokuani and Carlos Leal went to war with each other. And oh my God, like, it's just every time one of them was able to get some damage in, the other had to retaliate. There was no stopping to either of them. Their gas tanks seemed their cardio, it seemed very good, and especially for Njokuani. He was a much bigger guy for Carlos Leal to work closer in to his Chidi's range, and still coming out with the win. Incredible performance from both of them. Really great fight to end off the early prelims, which was so sad because the first fight of the main card was awful. With Zach Reese and Michael Pereira, I have cheered on Michael Pereira every time he has been on my screen. This is the guy who jumps off the back of the cage just to throw a Superman punch. I love him. He does it so often. He had made that his move. Where did your cardio go? You threw 3 strikes that did not connect, and then you pretended to get hit in the nuts to take a 2-minute breather. They checked the rewind. We saw you did not get hit in the nuts. It continued. You guys maybe threw 6 more strikes, and then you got hit in the nuts again. I don't know what happened to Michael Pereira's cardio, where he's there needing to fake injuries just to get some breathing time. Obviously, it mattered. Personally, I think the lack of time fighting within these stints was more effective to the morale of Zach Reese than any attack that Michael Pereira had actually thrown at him. I was appalled with what I saw this guy do. Truthfully, like, bad Michael Pereira. Boo! I don't know. It's when you see a fighter who used to be so good and so athletic, doing these crazy stunts, he was never up in the top 5s. He was never crazy, but he was a showmaker. And now he just can't fight for more than a minute and a half. It's kind of sad to see. To the contrary of another fighter, which we're going to talk about later, who I was very excited to see fight, even given his age. But to the real fights in the main card, we had, I believe, the performance of the night for Jacoby Smith and Josiah Harrell. First round total knockout from Jacoby Smith. He got, I want to say, 7 more hits in than he should have. Josiah Harrell was out cold. It's like, ref, where are you? Pull him off. Like, he was taking much more damage than need be. He was knocked out. But oh my God, in fantastic style, Jacoby Smith got it done. Calling out, oh my God, who did he call out? Max Holland. I would love to see those two fight. Max Holland versus Jacoby Smith. That would definitely be interesting. Do we think Max Holland needs to win his next fight? I don't know. Could Jacoby Smith get the fight even if he loses? I think he could. I think it is a very likely matchup to see come the next 4 or 5 months. Onto the only heavyweight fight for the evening. One of my favorite named fighters, at least. I just like saying it. Sergey Spivak versus Ante Delia. Someone must have told these guys that you're not allowed to wrestle because Sergey Spivak, with the wrestling background, just decided to box all game. He just decided to box all round for the 3 rounds. And so did Ante Delia. it put on a much more entertaining fight than I was expecting. I can 100% say that. These guys were dealing damage. They looked better than they have. Ante oh my God, I'm going to keep screwing up his last name. Ante Delhia, his last fight with Salsa Boy, Waldo Cortez Acosta, I don't want to say he looked worse, but he looked worse. Ante Delhia is doing better after losing. Who knows? Maybe we'll see him do even better in his next fight after getting 2 losses under his belt. But, oh my God, what are the odds that Mr. Champ Tom Aspinall is like, yeah, my good friend Ante Delhia, he's in the UFC, he's in the heavyweights, he's in my division, he's really good. If he gets up to this point, I might just renounce my title and let him take it. What? You spoke way too soon, mister. We've just been watching this guy lose. You did not put your money where your mouth is, and you got to put your money where your eyes are right now, Tom. We need to see that comeback. On to one of the more exciting fights of the night. We have Dan Ige versus Melquizael Costa. Oh my gosh. When 9 out of the 14 fights go the distance, and you tell me Dan Ige's on the card, I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, Dan Ige's going the distance. Dan Ige's never been knocked out. He's never been knocked out until Melquizael Costa showed up. Oh my God, spinning back kick to the jaw. Oh, it was fantastic. It was nuts. The Dalmatian, Melquizael Costa, dealing with vitiligo his whole life, he's getting it done. I know a lot of people, I think a lot of people, especially on the internet, they didn't take him seriously. I think he definitely was judged by the colors of his skin. But he's putting those haters down. He is showing that this work he's putting in is working. The best knockout of the night, in my opinion. And a performance of the night bonus going to Uroš Medić. Uroš Medić versus Jeff Neal. We saw Jeff Neal get spinning back elbow TKO'd by Carlos Prates. He's at the end. We'll get there. But so we got Jeff Neal, who had his most recent fight got KO'd, spinning back elbow by Carlos Prates. People thought his chin was gone. Jeff Neal used to be up there. He won against Leon Edwards. People thought Jeff Neal was going to be a real force in this division. He has lost his chin. Oh my gosh. Uroš Medić threw an incredible triple left-hand hook. Third one, boom, knocked his lights out. It literally knocked the snot out of his nose. It was insane to watch live. Just what this guy got hit so hard. Like, oh my God, he's going to wake up. He will breathe better than he has breathed in weeks. Oh my. I digress. On to the final fight of the evening. Sean Strickland versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. You know what? I fell for the Anthony Hernandez propaganda. I did. Oh, I did. I didn't want to believe. It's not that I didn't want to believe Sean Strickland couldn't do it. I think I wanted to see some fresh meat in the upper echelon of the middleweight category. Like, up at the top, we got the same dudes that we've been seeing for a little bit. We got Sean Strickland. We got Khamzat Chimaev. We got DDP. Nazardini Mavov, Paulo Costa, and what? Carlos Barrero? That's it? We just keep shuffling these dudes around. I wanted to see Anthony Hernandez do something. We obviously, next week, I believe, we have Joe Pyfer versus Israel Adesanya. No, that's not next week. That's in sometime in March. Later in March. It's a double-digit day. I don't remember which. But those two are going to fight. And if Joe Pyfer wins, then that's putting him much closer to a title shot. Maybe even maybe a fight with Anthony Hernandez if we're trying to keep Hernandez in that conversation. I think an obvious next match, if Adesanya wins, is we need Adesanya Strickland too. I think that'll be incredible to see, especially with both of these guys a little bit older, a little bit more controlled. Definitely, they're not being as sporadic, they're not being as flashy. I think seeing a rematch between those two would be incredible. And because if Izzy just takes down Strickland and Pyfer, oh my God, then give him the title shot. I don't think he'll win, but give him the title shot. Sean Strickland, he teeped and jabbed to the victory. I don't know what I was expecting. I was talking about it beforehand. I'm like, no, he possibly can't just teep and jab to victory. Well, he did it. And Anthony Hernandez genuinely showed us how soft of a body he has, where just a knee to the gut took him down. It wasn't even a liver shot. And Strickland found the ground and pound. He found the opening. He took the KO. It was a masterclass. He showed him that there's levels to this. Will we see Hernandez in the conversation again? I don't know. But Strickland is definitely back in it after coming off of his 8 months or 6 months of anger management classes that he needed to take. So, you know what? Let's see it. After the fight, Anthony Hernandez apparently went up to Sean Strickland, and he was upset because going into the fight, obviously you gotta have a little bit of hate towards the guy, even just a little bit when you're fighting him. Apparently Hernandez went into the fight thinking that Sean Strickland had flipped off his kid, Hernandez's kid, at one of the press events. Sean Strickland was just being booed by everyone in the room. He flipped off the whole crowd. And I don't know, it was a weirdly wholesome moment at the end of the match, of these two kind of coming to terms and being very, they're gentlemen at the end of the day. They're both gentlemen. That is it for UFC Fight Night Houston. Next week, do we have? No, not 26. $326. Yeah. Next week we have Fight Night UFC Mexico with Brandon Moreno and Lone Air Kavanaugh. I think it's going to be an interesting card. We got Daniel Zellhuber versus King Green earlier on the main card. That's a fight I'm definitely looking more for. And we got Marlon Vera fighting, who is always entertaining, up against David Martinez. After that, looking on for the first Saturday of March, we have UFC 326. Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira for the BMF belt. A fight where you just want them to make up and go home. You don't want to see either of these guys get hurt. But it's going to be one hell of a fight. Hopefully. It could be nothing. It could be a nothing burger. That'd be awful. But so on to the next fight promotion that we're talking about this week. It's been a promotion that I've watched their last few. Events. Obviously, I am following the amateur to now pro career of Mr. Malcolm Schuyler, Winged C. If you don't know him, what are you doing? And he fought recently in the promotion of Karate Combat, where it is full contact karate. They have a different rule set compared to the UFC, which is MMA, mixed martial arts, compared to Muay Thai. Definitely closer to Muay Thai, in the set where I'd say the biggest change is in Muay Thai. God, how many times am I going to say Muay Thai? If you knock someone down 3 times, not knock them down 3 times, it's considered a KO. That doesn't exist in full contact karate. Other than that, it is very similar. There's no ground play. They remove grappling. It is a much more striking, focused combat sport. So, Winged C gets it done in the first round against Jaden Lee, the Prince of Puerto Rico. I think it is interesting how the commentators talked about it, where it's not something that I would have thought about. Winged C, how I see him, he is a very promising amateur prospect. He does not have the greatest ground game, but he has incredible striking and he has immaculate footwork due to his background in breakdancing. He is 100% trying to put on a show while he is fighting, and he is used to that. The commentators of Karate Combat were mentioning that can sometimes bring out the same in their opponent, where Jaden Lee definitely looked like he was being a little bit more flashy, a little bit more free with his movement, and they were chalking that up to him almost trying to go toe-to-toe with Winged C. In the end, it not being to his forte, Winged C getting him down, finishing him with ground and pound in the first round. Love to see it, and he's already planned to fight in the FFL, the Future Fight League, next month. Let's get it. From that and on to the main card fights for Karate Combat 59. We had Uriah Hall versus Jaden Eonad, which, oh my God, I love Uriah Hall back in the day. His spinning moves he's so flashy. He gets it done. You know, he got it done back in the day. He still gets it done. He finished Jaden. I know the picture doesn't really show. It looks like he beat up a child. I don't know why the topology image is that. But Uriah Hall, gets the finish with a spinning back kick to the liver. Eonad just winced, kind of comes in on himself. You can't really defend against a liver kick. Well, you can't really defend against your liver being hurt. It kind of just takes over. You can't really defend yourself. You can't really put up numbers. Onto the women's strawweight championship for Alessandra Ferreira and Monika Chochlikova. For a fight to go the 5 rounds and not be boring, it's something special. And I think this fight almost shows what a problem is with the females division in the UFC, where they have too many grapplers. They have too many jiu-jitsu artists and they have too many grapplers, where to the average fan, that's very boring. They want to see more action. They want to see flashier moves, but the upper echelon of women fighters that get into the UFC have very strong grappling bases. So for 5 rounds of full contact karate between these two, oh my God, was it eventful. Monika Chochlikova goes to throw a flying knee at Alessandra Pereira. She catches her, moves, throws her. Oh my God, it was insane. And did I mention Alessandra Ferreira is also a OnlyFans star? Like, talk about a dual career path. Like, props to her. She beat Monika Shashlikova. She is now the female karate combat strawweight champion. So it will be interesting to see more from her career. On to the final fight from Karate Combat 59, if you could call it that. It was a grappling match. And it was a grappling match between a UFC heavyweight, Walter Walker, who for his last 4 fights, he has won all via submission, or all on submission via heel hook. He has the record for the most amount of heel, or I believe it's either he has the record or he's tied for the most heel hooks submissions by a UFC heavyweight. His opponent was Zion Clark, a man with no legs. Zion Clark is a professional wrestler. He is a professional, would you call it a professional, like Paralympic kind of wrestler? Yeah, he's a professional wrestler, man. He is a professional mixed martial artist. That's what it says under this man's professions. He was born, I should have done my research and got the actual words, actual terminologies, but he was born with a very rare disorder, here it is, called caudal regression syndrome, where basically he was born, where if someone has it, they're born without parts of their tailbone. Zion Clark got it he got it much worse than others, where he just now has no legs. But oh my God, is he one of one? He has obviously had an upbringing completely different than anyone else. He has trained his body to navigate life differently than anyone else. And he's still out here trying to wrestle and get it done with the best of them. There's nothing that you can take away from this man. He is an icon. But he lost. I don't know what we were expecting. Truthfully, I don't know what we were expecting. He lost. He is like a little spider monkey, though, kind of crawling around on Walter Walker's back. But Walter Walker got it done. Put him in a, can you call it a rear naked choke? Who knows? But it was entertaining, to say the least. Walter Walker, in pre-fight press conferences, which I think is some of the funniest stuff that this guy has done, and he's definitely making himself out to be a bit more of a star, a bit more of a comedic fighter than some of the more serious guys. Walter Walker would sit there in interviews crying, forcing himself to cry, like, I have no heel, I cannot heel hook, and it's awesome. Like, I love Walter Walker. I love his brother, Johnny Walker. They're both very entertaining fighters. They're both very entertaining people. But they're in different weight classes. Oh, no. I guess they'll never fight. No. After winning, Walter Walker took his time on the microphone to call out his brother and tell him to come up to heavyweight for them to fight. I think that would be interesting. We got Walker on Walker violence. I think that'll be really, really fun to watch. That's definitely something that I'm looking forward to. And the, I don't know, is he the president? He's the commissioner of Karate Combat. He said he's going to make it happen. So we got Walker v. Walker, Walker on Walker violence happening at Karate Combat sometime in the near future. That will be something to look forward to. But, oh my God, I completely forgot. I completely forgot to mention this in the beginning. We had, at the beginning of the UFC Houston event, we had a little ceremony, little acknowledgement for big man Buff in the room. 30 years with the UFC for Bruce Buffer, the GOAT, the voice, the man. Just, wholesome, glad to see it. The best voice around. He's better than his brother in the WWE, 100%. But that is to end the show today. I hope you all had a good time learning about some of these, some of the crazy stuff happening in combat sports and listening to me yap. Don't forget that you can follow us on social media at DCSA Media Hub. You can also follow me on my Letterboxd account at letterboxd.com/Carson's Nonsense. Here is Fight Music for the Fight by the Bromhead Jackets, playing us out live from the Media Hub on Riot Radio.